Welcome to Tech Abilities, produced live in the Blind Abilities studio. I want to thank all of you for listening and for sending in your feedback. It's well appreciated. And if you want to send us some feedback, give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave a message. We'd love to hear from you. Or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the tech tidbits and news that we cover in this episode. And you can use chapters. If your podcast player of choice has the chapters feature, go ahead, nibble away at this episode, or take it all in one big meal. That's the way it was designed. And chapters work good, and we love to make that feature available. So without further ado, let's get this show started.
Be blind people's hero.
Huh.
Things that make you go,
Ray-Ban for everybody.
Yeah. So direct touch typing is best used by making sure you have speak auto text turned on.
No.
Yeah.
Oof. Slide to type.
Okay.
Well, I think it depends on what they're tethered to.
Oh, yeah. That's so funny.
Can Ira tap into that information of getting the video?
Ooh.
When I was about 8, I wanted to go to auctioneer school.
Huh.
Does anybody use Raise to Speak?
I turned that off. Ooh. So annoying.
Another highly anticipated title was just added to HBO Max's library with description, and that would be The Sopranos.
Yep.
It's all right.
It's all right.
He looks up at the heavens, seeking help, and none is coming.
Not helping you, Jeff. You're on your own.
We're not helping.
I'll try it differently.
Let's do this.
All right, take 26.
26.
All right, let's
Take
do this thing.
26. Live from the Blind Abilities Studios, this is the Tech Abilities Show, and I'm Jeff Thompson from Friendly Frilly, Minnesota. And with me in the studio is Serina Gilbert. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Doing well, Jeff.
That's great. And out there in California, we got Raqi G. What's up, Raqi?
Not much, Jeff. Doing pretty good.
That's good.
Doing pretty.
And right here in St. Paul, Minnesota, right next to Minneapolis, we got Jesse Anderson. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
That's great. Welcome to the show.
Indeed.
And out there on the East Coast, kind of, sort of in a way, out there east of us is Lisa Salinger. What's up, Lisa?
I am back from the dead, at least partially. And I'm currently playing cough medicine roulette in an attempt to find something that works. My sister had a lovely wedding. That was Saturday. Tuesday, my mom got sick. Following that time, the entire family fell over like a bunch of obedient little dominoes, and we are still recovering.
And that's why we're keeping her in the hallway here at the studio while we're all in the big room here, Studio B.
Hey, I'm wearing a mask.
That's good.
I'll wave at you.
All right. Serina sent me an article, and I was like dumbfounded, and so I clicked on it, and I downloaded the app, and then I stopped dead cold, and it wanted me to check this box that says I agree to the privacy, and I agree to this, that, the other thing, and I stopped, and I just went and tried reading about it. It's called Hero, and it's by Eyes. That's AYES, and it's gathering data for the blind. Serina, I don't know about this app.
It's kind of interesting because just a couple hours before we're doing this recording, I was scrolling through Facebook and somebody posted this particular Facebook post to a blindness related group. And the way that it was advertised is it's be blind people's hero, help us contribute to our AI database and identify, common intersections and things that you come into contact with on your walks and blah, blah, blah. And I have some pretty strong opinions about even how this is being marketed because I don't need a hero. I don't know about the rest of you all, but I don't need anyone saying that they're my hero for taking pictures and adding them to a database.
What is the final product?
That's what I was trying to figure out, because I did see the article when you had posted it to the chat, and I was looking at it, and I was actually on the phone with a friend of mine at the time. We were both kind of looking at it like, okay, apparently it's sort of contributing to some sort of like AI project of like, if they crowdsource like thousands and thousands of images maybe or something, and like being able to, I don't know if they're trying to like identify certain scenarios, kind of like how Seeing AI would identify objects in a scene or something. So like there could be some potential like good AI work that could come from something like this, but the way that it's marketed or the way that it's kind of described, is a little bit,
Protective?
Let's just say the A word. It's ableist. It's okay.
demeaning maybe a little bit.
Yeah, it was confusing to me.
So my question is, who is this company and what is the premise? Because the truth is there's a lot of positive advantage to being able to map physical locations and have actual coordinates and locations mapped with things and where they are. I can see real advantages in software that isn't too far off in the distant future for different types of navigation, indoor, outdoor, and maybe even for specific venues. But I wonder how the marketing is always kind of scammy to me. I always have to shake my head and go, here we go again. It's one of those things that, is it genuine? Is it legit? Or is it using something to actually do something completely, different that's more nefarious?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm low vision, like some of the, they're talking about stoplights and intersections and things, and there are some really awful and tricky intersections that, it would be kind of be neat to be able to have some sort of like better description or assistance with that sort of a thing. So there's definitely good that can come out of it, but is this a solution looking for a problem, or are they just not describing it and marketing it well? And that's why it's just interesting.
What do you think, Lisa?
Well, and I could see members of the public looking at this, thinking, well, if these poor blind people need me to be their hero, how is this really going to work for them? How are they going to be able to get out and walk anywhere if they can't see?
No, they'll say, oh, it's great, I'll help them, and they'll pile in their own data. And that's what it's doing, is gathering data. But for what purpose?
It's kind of like the marketing. On one hand, you're saying blind people are pathetic and they need heroes.
Yeah, perpetuating the helpless stereotype.
And then on the other hand, you're saying blind people get out and walk independently. And I think, and I'm not sure I mind, but I think that they might be shooting themselves in the foot with that approach.
Right.
See, I don't think people take that apart. I don't give people a lot of credit.
Well, it says in their intent is to build algorithms to help blind people with mobility. So I don't know how much an algorithm can really help me at an intersection when I'm trying to take in the information that I'm trained from a mobility instructor will tell me how to navigate it on my own. When you're talking about these canes or anything else that wants to take over your information that you're used to receiving, I just don't trust it. So it's interesting, and thanks for sending that in, Serina, because I don't know where this is going to go. And if anybody else has any opinions on this, give us a call at 612-367-6093. That's the number. And let us know how you feel. The other thing that came in was from something from Facebook and Ray-Ban. It's glasses. Ray-Ban stories. This is interesting to me because Facebook and their privacy, and now everything that goes through your camera and your GPS points. Where are you? What are you doing? Everything can be logged and recorded. That's what has me wondering about the data that is sent into those photos for the Hero app too. All that information gets sent with your photographs and your videos and everything like that. So even with the Ray-Ban stories, those glasses, a lot of information, a lot of privacy stuff is coming out here.
Well, it's kind of funny because this is just something that will make you all chuckle. When I first started running Facebook groups, and spam was particularly common in the groups, almost every time that it was a spam post, it was somebody posting a link to buy Ray-Bans. So I find that super ironic. I don't know if it was just coincidental, but it's cool that they've partnered with such a well-known brand, but I trust nothing that Facebook, I don't trust anything that would be a wearable from Facebook. I can't take that step.
Not even a little bit.
I'm with you there.
That's why, when I originally got into virtual reality, Oculus was its own thing. Shortly thereafter, they partnered with Facebook, and then Facebook bought them out, and now everything is leaning in toward Facebook. And if you have a new headset, you have to have a Facebook account. I still have my Oculus account, but I think toward the end of this year or next year, I'm going to have to use a Facebook account, which I am absolutely not thrilled about whatsoever. So yeah, I have a lot of reservations. I mean, on these types of headsets, or on this new Ray-Ban thing.
It also says they're going to come in 20 different varieties. So there's one for all of you out there.
Ray-Ban for everybody.
It's a lot of SKUs for them to carry. That makes no sense. It's a lot.
The thing I love about this really that I think is finally here is that we're going to normalize it now. And it's been a long time coming. And ever since the first iteration of Google Glass, of course, I've been kind of waiting for this to be a little more normalized, where we see a head-mounted camera and people are concerned about so many misuses of it. But as a blind person, I think it could just be a fabulous tool for traveling.
Ira?
I'm with you. I don't trust Facebook.
I agree.
For anything at all. I mean, I think this will normalize the technology. And I think within 5 years, you're going to see smart glasses everywhere supported by different platforms. And this kind of makes me happy to see, because people will want to keep up with Facebook, and eventually we'll have a technology that becomes so ubiquitous that it's more commonplace and people don't trip about it anymore. I mean, it's just raising the camera up 2 feet. That's all you're doing. I mean, it's the same camera we carry with us in our pocket, you know?
My biggest thing was Ira, and when they came out with their glasses, I'm like, okay, that's an interesting thing, but here's the problem, is I don't want to buy one headset that works with one app. Like, I want to buy, just like I buy an iPhone and I can put gazillions of apps on it, I want the glasses as a platform where if I want to put Seeing AI on it, if I want to run some sort of weird voice dream capture thing or Envision, whatever I want. So using that as a platform, I'd be very excited in some ways about having like text recognition and things like that when I'm out and about and not having to hold my phone. So there is good, but Facebook, I don't know.
Yeah, that was my thought too. I thought, boy, cool technology. Nah, I'm not sure I'm in it yet, because I don't trust this company. But 5 years from now, I'll be really eager to see what's out here. Even 3 years from now, what's going to be out here in the space, and what will developers do with it?
Yeah, it'll depend for me who it's by, because, I mean, people have heard me on different podcasts. There's no love lost between me and Facebook. I call it the other F word.
Me too.
I had my account hacked too many times, despite being as careful as I could. And it was really funny because I'd scroll through stories and I'd get done and I'd feel so grouchy. And I'm like, this is really not the way I want to feel. This is not what this should make me feel. See ya, I'm gone, And that's a little bit of a diversion, or a digression rather. But
oh no, I get it, trust me.
Kind of why I really am not a fan. And so many places are like, oh, this is only streamed live on Facebook. And every once in a while I've gone, oh, but mostly I'm like, well, sorry, I'm going to miss it.
Yeah, guess what I'm not watching?
I don't miss mine either. Yeah. I got rid of mine too, and I don't miss it.
I have an account, but I'm lucky to use it once a year.
Instead of bashing Facebook for what you believe in, which you should, but anyways, I would like to say I'd like to see a company of this size produce a smart glasses camera that maybe another company. That's why Ira couldn't do it. They could not produce a product of such and afford
Very
it
good point.
and put it all out there. So whether Google Glasses come back like we have Envision Glass, they're using it. They're putting apps on it, but I don't know if that's taken off. Once the campaign was over, the price is pretty steep. It's very expensive.
That's the problem. It's out of the range of most people that use the technology that's used to drive it. And the beautiful thing about the Ray-Bans was the price tag, and I think it's just such
$299.
Yeah.
How much was it?
$299.
I don't think we can have blindness-specific glasses.
No.
Because
No,
it's too nichey, and the cost to produce it is astronomical and out of the reach or out of the desire. Even if it's within reach, it's
right.
It'll be the Snapchat glasses or the Instagram glasses or the TikTok glasses or something that will be able to run Ira on it.
Yes.
As a third party. I would be all about that, though. That would be fine for me,
Yep.
But we haven't talked about, one important thing. Who has confidence that these will have built-in accessibility?
Don't all jump at once.
Well, I think it depends on what they're tethered to.
No, they probably won't. Again, it sets the precedent, right? They're here. If once you open the door for a certain piece of technology to become more prevalent, it leaves the room for growth and improvement on behalf of other companies. And I guarantee you, Facebook may not care, but let's say for just a second, let's go out on a wild limb and say that Apple decided to release something like this. They wouldn't put out a product that didn't meet with a certain level of accessibility.
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
I think it depends on who the company is that's doing it.
Facebook is going to use Apple's iPhone as the heavy lifter. It's going to use the smartphone as the heavy lifter. They already know that. I think the difference with Ira and the way it was working, they had to tether it because you had to get, without lag time, you had to get the video to the camera for response time for people to be interacting with the agents out there. And that connectivity with the 3-part, trying to get things to sync up, and it was almost just as easy to ask someone for help, if you're on a train trying to get some information. Now that Facebook has taken on the heavy lifting of producing a product, getting the price point down to a certain point where it's reachable for most of us, will that be able to connect up to your iPhone and have a third party? Can Ira tap into that information of getting the video to project out there through the iPhone? It's going to be interesting to see where this goes.
Definitely.
Speaking of Apple, there was a little bit of Raqi knows all about this. California streaming.
Take my money. Just take my money. Just take my money. They should just hire me because they take so much of my money. Oh, God.
It's just a lease. You're just leasing these products. You know that. Think about it.
Why does it feel like Christmas then? Oh, God, I waited all year for this.
I was surprised where it started out with the Apple TV Plus. I enjoy the shows that are going to be dropping. The second seasons are coming around, some of the big shows, and some new shows are going, and they really got some heavy-duty Emmys won already. So Ted Lasso's playing. We talked about that a little bit. But even in their Fitness Plus, they added some new features to it and keep on adding these guest workout people. Serina, you've been using the Fitness Plus with the coaches and studying the boards. You dropped it? You stopped it?
No, it's the Peloton. Peloton has its own separate. It's not the Fitness Plus.
Okay, moving on. Back to Apple.
They added Pilates. I think that's what it is.
Guided meditation is being added too.
But I'll be curious to see how accessible they are. Again, if they describe the workouts or what, I'll be curious to see.
I think the only thing that we would really have a shot at is the mindfulness, because that apparently is going to be audio only. So if someone is into that, that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Pilates and guided meditation.
Yeah, the meditation, and then there was this. They were talking about getting exercise for snow season, like snowboarding and whatnot,
which
some
is
kind of exercises
incredibly
or something.
Niche, but whatever.
Well, when SharePlay comes out, they're going to start this all together now, where you and your friends can do workouts together. Kind of workouts sometimes are like private, but with the share, if they come out with that, when it does release, I guess it's going to be this fall, because Serina noted it and I caught it a few times. They did mention it in the event, so SharePlay should be coming, if not real quick here.
Yeah, I feel like if it wasn't going to be coming out when 15 launched, especially since they were marketing it on like the watch and the phone and stuff that's coming out. Well, I think the phone's coming out Friday, but the watch much later. I just don't feel like they would have said SharePlay so many times if it wasn't going to come out. Like, I would hope that their marketing department would be like, let's not talk about that so much since it's not, because the reality is they're probably having another event in November. I would hope that they would have thought through that before mentioning SharePlay at least like 4 times.
AirPods 3. Waiting for those AirPods.
No, the AirPod Pros 2 is what I want. Mm-hmm. I don't care about the AirPod 3s.
Yeah, I was surprised they talked about iPad and then the iPad mini. The iPad, and a good entry point for a lot of people at $329. It has lots of good features. But I was really shocked when they mentioned the mini, the iPad mini, and all the features that it does have. It's like, and plus it comes in at $499. And then if you want to beef it up a little bit, I think it starts out at 64 gigabytes. But if you want to go to 256, it jumps up to $649. So $150 more. And that's probably where you want to be at.
I bought the iPad mini. I ordered it right away, and it delivers on the 24th. I was a little sad that they didn't push the entry model up to $128. You go $499 for 64, or you jump up to $649. And by the time it's all said and done with tax and everything, I added a folio and I had, $60 of tax, and you end up spending a little more by the time you increase the storage. But I've been waiting for this iPad for so long. I love this size and this form factor. So they did everything I wanted, USB-C, everything. I was just so excited to see them put this out. MagSafe, everything.
And you get your stereo speakers too that are on the landscape.
Yes!
Yeah.
I gotta do I do.
What is your use factor for this? How do you utilize the iPad mini?
So I need a work machine that's a little more portable than my laptop that I can dedicate exclusively to my job, and I can sign on to Exchange and have my Outlook and my calendars with me without syncing all that stuff to my personal phone. I want a separate iOS device for places where I don't want to take my laptop. And I thought about carrying a second phone, but this is sort of the sweet spot for me because it's iOS, but I do like certain things about it. I love the iPad in landscape mode when I use it. I like the layouts. I like some of the way that it gives you a little more screen space to have things side by side. And it's a different experience, certainly with VoiceOver to get used to, but the screen protector helped a little bit in the beginning when I was less than confident.
One more thing for the listeners. Now, when you're using this, your interface with it, other than, using your finger and using the gestures or however you also have the possibilities of using a keyboard or the Mantis or Chameleon with this too, right? How do you use it how will you be using it?
Yeah, and you can plug them right in. You don't even need the camera kit, the USB 3 camera adapter anymore, because now it's got the USB port right on the iPad. So theoretically, I should be able to just plug in. Now, I don't know how, I'm not endorsing this because I don't know if it's supported. So I mean, the APH has made reference to it, but I don't know that it's a widely marketed feature. But in theory, I should be able to just plug it in and have it work.
So you're going to be using it just like a laptop?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have keyboards and stuff here. There's no smart keyboard. There's a Folio still, but there's no keyboard. But they have the Magic Keyboard and stuff, so I'll probably just carry it. Actually, the beauty of the iPad mini is it fits right inside of the cover for my Mantis Q40. So if I didn't want to carry the Chameleon, I could unzip the cover, the Executive Products pocket on the front, and just drop the iPad mini right in there. And if I wanted to lug that thing around and take the Mantis Q.
Yeah, I kind of found it a little surprising that the iPad mini was actually a little bit more expensive than the new iPad that they're calling it, which is kind of funny. But I'm actually thinking about getting my parents at least one of the entry-level iPad because, they've been kind of getting my old iPad hand-me-downs, and I think my dad is still running like my original iPad Air I think he's got. So that's kind of needing a little bit of an upgrade if he wants to keep using apps, but he doesn't need anything fancy. He just basically uses maybe 3 apps, YouTube and Facebook and a couple other things. But
well, the iPad mini is actually really just a small version of the iPad Air that came out last year, the way that they're describing it, with the features that are on it, the way the Touch ID is integrated into the lock button and everything. So I think, Raqi, you're going to really like it. I love my iPad Air. I had a mini and I thought it was too small. Because I like to be able to have a Folio keyboard with it and to keep that portability. Like, I don't do well without having some sort of keyboard that's all in one.
I will not lie.
No, it's Braille screen input and everything. And I love the iPad mini. I could actually sort of put my hands on if I held it in landscape mode, I could put it on the table. And if I held my hands above the keys, I could type, QWERTY, like with all 8 fingers. I could get to where if my hands didn't move, if I slipped, then forget it. I would end up between letters and stuff. But it was just the perfect size and everything. It was just so old. My old iPad mini was really long in the tooth. I think it was 5 or 6 years old. So I was so glad to be able to finally see them refresh it. And that model, Jesse, that you talked about getting your dad, that 329 model, that's not a bad iPad at all for somebody who wants a starter. That's a really sweet deal. I think for somebody, especially if they're like getting into the space or whatever, Apple, I'm really glad to see that they've got really affordably priced, decent hardware.
Yeah, exactly. Because this should last him a couple of years, and of quite a few years, and I mean, he uses basically Facebook, YouTube, and eBay. That's what he does. So
he'll be okay.
That's my mom too. 3 apps,
Even with the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 mini that came out, those are starting out, $699. That's a pretty good entry level, and it's not a bad phone. I mean, to tell you the truth, I looked at it and I was thinking, that's similar to, well, they haven't really changed the size too much from the 12s at all. And then when you get into the Pros, well, you're talking a little, all of them have a little bit better battery life, a little bit better screen,
They're heavier.
a little bit heavier.
Well, because the battery's bigger and the camera.
And a little thicker. Yeah.
The 12 lost a little bit of that chunkiness that the iPhone 11 had, so I'm really excited to see the thicker batteries back. We'll see what it's like when it's in my pocket.
I'm on the fence, but I'm kind of teetering. I'm thinking, because I still have the XS Max, which I still really love this phone. Like, it's still holding up really well. It's still performing pretty well. But there's getting to be enough features in it that I don't have. Like, if I want to use it to demo things from my day job, or even some of the stuff, the accessibility work that I do outside of my day job. So there's enough in there where it's like, okay, I could kind of think about it. So I don't know, Friday morning there might just happen to be a 13 Pro Max in my future, and I think I'm going to go with the 512 because, that's what we're doing, I think, if I'm going to do it.
The trade-in deal. Go ahead.
I am curious, though, because Jeff,
Serina.
you know what I'm about to ask you. And I want you to insert what you said on last week's podcast right here. And then I'm going to ask you, are you upgrading to a new iPhone?
You'll come to think of it, I had a little change of mind. Yeah, I always want to be prepared. Practice, go home, practice. So before Friday, 7 a.m., I did all the pre-approval stuff. I went on there as if I was going to buy one, got it all set up. So now I have a couple days to think about it, sleep on it a few times.
So I'm curious, though, because I looked at it, and Lisa, I think you and I are in the same boat here. We both have 12 Pros. You have 12 Pro Max. The only increase
I have 12 Pro.
Yeah, well, I'm saying Jeffrey has a 12 Pro Max, and then you and I have a 12 Pro.
Yeah.
The only differences that I saw was obviously the bump in the camera, which happens every time, and the battery life.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you upgrading?
It's not,
what's the purpose there?
It's not about that.
The thing that I looked at was I bought a phone. You pay it off in 2 years, right? So I'm on the update plan, and I looked at it, and I would actually save $3 a month by updating, and I would just extend it out for another year after. I'd pay another year anyways. So,
but you'd own your phone next year if you waited, and you wouldn't have to trade it in. Well, I have backup devices though. Like I was able to test on my old phone, and I can give it to my son or.
Something that, well, you could maybe give it to your son, and if you want to hand it down to somebody, but the thing that you're forgetting about, I have the 12 Pro.
So do I.
Lisa, you have the 12 Pro? Okay, and you have the 12 Pro. So they cut our 12 Pros. They're pulling them from the lineup. I just bought mine. My warranty isn't even up until 2 days before my birthday. I think it ends on the 20th of December. I mean, it's right at the end of the year. So mine's not even a year old, but if I trade it into Apple, they'll give me $650 for it.
You actually paid outright for yours, correct?
It's a moot point. Even if I'd done the upgrade plan, my new phone would have, if I wanted to pay it off in payments, it would be $60 a month. And if that times 12, that will still be
$720, yeah.
Over $100 more than what I will pay. So if I take this phone now and I trade it into Apple, because if I wait till next year, not only will it be depreciated by another year, the battery life will stink, and I'll have to replace the battery and put money into it just to be able to sell it. And they've cut the life out from under this phone by not supporting it anymore. So what am I going to get for it? Nobody's going to give me anything this year, much less next year, because Apple's gone and discontinued it. So to
see, and I love my 12 Pro. Honestly,
I love the 12
I absolutely
Pro.
love it.
I love it.
I'd rather wait until the form factor changes to upgrade.
It's going to lose its value.
And I keep them because I've never sold them, so I don't care.
If that doesn't matter, it totally doesn't matter. I mean, it means I'm paying $500 this year. I hadn't planned on paying, but if I wait till next year, this phone won't be worth $200. I won't be able to give it away. And that just makes me sick. It's like, I just bought it. It's gorgeous. I don't want to do that. So
in response, Serina, I did a long look at this. I don't think I'll be without an iPhone for how many years? Looking down my future, I think for life, I'll be having an iPhone in my hand, and it'll probably be the Max or the Pro of that nature. Just the way it goes. So either I buy it all out at once and then I can trade it in when I think the best time is right, or I get on the plan. And what is it? $60 a month. You're leasing a phone, and if I trade it in now, it drops down to 58. So I'm,
saving money.
$2.
And I've been buying mine pretty much outright the last few times, and like I said, I love the phone that I have, but I think what's really starting to kind of push me over is, like I said, mine's 3+ years old. I don't have the LiDAR, I don't have 5G, I don't have MagSafe.
You should upgrade.
And I don't the battery's going down a little bit more, but it's still pretty good. So I'll get a new battery. And as a low vision user, I love the Pro Max line just because now this one you're going to get the 128 Hertz refresh rate, which is really good for clear images and not as much blurring when there's motion. And then I when they were talking about the cameras, one of the things that I kind of picked up on is, a little bit different or a little bit more image stabilization again with the new camera, as well as this micro zoom or macro zoom or whatever they call it, where they were zooming into leaves and flowers and things. But I'm thinking, well, if you're going to be able to zoom into something and see a lot of detail that way, imagine what type of, clarity we might get, or even maybe potential extra zoom level with the built-in magnifier app, because I use my iPhone as a magnifier pretty much on a daily basis. So those are things, and of course the bigger battery again. So yeah, that's why I think I'm kind of teetering. I think there might be a 13 Pro Max in my future.
And Lisa, you've been so quiet.
I don't know, but I wonder if these new camera features will enable us have even more control over the pictures. Yeah, Lisa, what about you?
I don't really feel the need or desire to upgrade my phone. I have the 12 Pro. However, after listening to all the discussion, it makes me realize that I probably need to contact my phone provider. Because, the last couple years, there has been so much going on in my life. And now that I've kind of, I have a job that's more hours, so in some ways more secure, and I have kind of 2 brain cells I can put together to stop, I need to consider what's the most financially prudent thing. Although I understand your point, Raqi, about the value that it will have in a year or two. I guess also, I have nieces and I have family members I can pass it on to, but I'm thinking more what value does it have to me now? And also, I hate when the actual form factor of the phone doesn't change, but because the camera changes, you have to get a new case.
Yeah. Yes, because I love my case that I have right now. It's a classic Nintendo controller.
I don't think they're changing the case on the Pro because the lenses are diagonal.
Okay.
But they've got they're on that square, that elevated square. So I think the cases, it looks like
They said there were new cases for all the 13s.
Yep, there's new. Because it's thicker.
They're new.
Because it's thicker. So that might be the thing that does it. It's not the camera, but
and I saw they're selling them for $59 on the Apple Store for the leather case. $59.
And I like the smaller form factor of the Mini, but I wouldn't get the Mini because I have no desire for the Max. It's too ginormous. I have small hands.
Well, like I said, I'm making a decision here. I got some time to do it. And the other side of me is sitting here, one little Jeff on one shoulder and another Jeff on the other shoulder. And the one on my left shoulder is saying, well, there isn't much to really upgrade to unless your phone is, dying down on the battery. Before the show, Jess and I did a battery check. And if you go to settings, go down to battery, then check on battery health, it'll tell you what your battery is at. Mine's at 91%. It's a month away. It's 11 months old. Jesse's is 2.5 years old, and his is down to 86%. That just,
mine's 3 years old.
Yeah, that means 86. It still reaches a full
pretty
charge.
Good batteries.
But
that's not bad.
So you just have to charge it a little bit more, but it still reaches full capacity. Now, the changes in the phone, the benefits, it still has LiDAR for me. But if someone is coming up from, I would say, if you're sporting an 8 or if you're sporting a 10, that's where I would say, you would benefit. I'm not going to benefit much at all. The only thing I'm going to suffer is paying for an extra case and doing all the backups and adding all my passwords that don't transfer over to the backup system. Plus the fact that I'll be paying full price taxes once again. So it's a little hassle. Can I wait a year? Of course I can wait a year.
When the form factor is probably going to change.
And next year, it begs the question, this was back when the phones were kind of on that TikTok, S versus first launch year model and then the S model coming after. If you think of this more like the 12S phone, it's a little easier to conscience. There really wasn't anything to these new phones, and there's nothing really exciting other than battery life. For me, as a totally blind user, for those of you that don't have vision, really, this phone is not an exciting upgrade like next year is slated to be.
Which is probably why the 12 is gone, because it's the same thing.
Well, no, the 12 is still there. It's the 12 Pro that's gone. It's only the phones with LiDAR. The 12 Pro, the regular 12 is still there, and the regular 12
Which makes no
mini.
sense.
No.
They pulled because they replaced the Pro with the 13. They're identical enough that the 13 is the only 6.1 inch Pro phone with LiDAR that you can buy now. So either there's something with the 12s, they want to pull them badly enough that they're willing to pay people enough money to get them back in house. They want everyone running the latest hardware, is what I
think it's parts. We didn't see a jack in the prices at all.
I'd rather get something brand new that I've never played with.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
and
kind of
next
my...
year.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Like Jeff said, if you can wait till next year for new hardware, that's the thing to do.
I'm not replacing my watch this year, and it's really unfortunate because I felt the need to replace it early, this last year.
And you waited.
Well, I really wanted blood oxygen and stuff with what was going on with my health, but I really liked, okay, this is the year you shell out the big bucks for the iPhone, and this is the year you shell out the big bucks for the Apple Watch.
That's a good idea.
And this is when they changed the form factor for the Apple Watch. So it makes sense.
And it's like, I want to touch the new Apple Watch, and I want to touch the new iPad mini, but I don't really have the desire to own either one. Has anyone heard definitively whether the bands for the watches
They will
are
work.
going?
Yes, they'll work.
They
They're
said that
compatible.
during the keynote.
They didn't make
I
the
missed
change
it.
that we thought they were going to make. It's not flat edges.
They
like,
did say in the keynote.
It's a bigger screen, but not a bigger form factor.
I had a work phone call during it, and I missed that part.
I still have my Series 4. My old, for all that I'm somebody who jumps on the iPhones right away, I have my old Series 4 and it's all scratched up.
That's the same watch I have.
And it's beat to hell and I just keep using it and it works fine. And I'll use it until the watch changes. It does what I need it to, so.
Yeah.
I have a 5 and it's scratched for sure too.
If someone's on the fence about getting an Apple Watch, it's something that grows on you. And it's nothing that you just put on and you figure out and you get a little manual and do it. It's something that adapts to you and you adapt to it and take it off sometimes and all of a sudden you realize it's like when I sit down in front of my Mac and my watch isn't on, I have to put in my password. Otherwise it just it just starts up. Or now the iPhone, sometimes it just not all the time, but sometimes it just opens it up. But it'll tell you, we just unlocked your iPhone, blah, blah, blah. So the watch is a really cool thing. And, when they start out at, what is it, $329 now? Is that the starting price? Or is that the iPad?
No, there's one that's
believe-
$279. The
$279,
SE is
the
$279.
SE. That's attainable. But do we all need this? No, but if you can and you get it, you will start to use it. There's more and more to do with them, and they're just an interesting piece of device. I wouldn't recommend someone you need one at all, but once you have one, it starts to grow on you.
Yeah, I have the Series 4, and I wasn't really thinking I was going to upgrade, and I still don't know if I will. I think my current plan is I'm not going to rush out and pre-order it, but if I can go to like an Apple store, I wonder what they would offer me as a trade-in value, and I currently have the cellular model of the Series 4, which the cellular plans, my original intent for that, it really didn't pan out because a lot of the third-party apps just didn't or couldn't offer the type of functionality that I was hoping that I would be able to do untethered from the phone. So if I were to upgrade, I would get the standard watch version, ditch another $10 off my phone bill because I don't have a cellular thing, and then I would just have that version of the watch. So if they gave me a good enough trade-in value, and then I could cancel that, watch part of my phone bill, then I might consider it. So that's kind of going to be the criteria, I think, for me to look at an upgrade, because I like the bigger screen idea.
It's 41 millimeters, though. That's distressing
44,
to
man.
me. The 41 and 44, like,
I'm doing
not
the big
only
one.
were they big before, now they've made it even bigger. And I think I would have to see, I was hoping it would have a more square design, but I would really have to see it to, it's already almost too big.
I got the 5, it's a 44.
Yeah, I have a 40 and it's too big. I really like the 38, but the battery was so horrible that the 40 is tolerable. But I think, boy, I don't want to go any bigger. I have to see it. That's one I'm going to have to put put my hands on it because I just don't know.
I think another bright side to this event happening and all these people upgrading their phones, if they don't trade in, they want to sell them and stuff. So if you're coming from a 7 or an 8, there's going to be a lot of devices that people are going to be getting rid of. So if you don't want to go with the new plan or can't afford a new plan, check out these phones that are going on the market. I would say the 12s, anything in the 12s, you'd probably get a good buy. If you're coming from an 8,
mini?
Get Jesse's 10R off them.
10R is gone too. The 10R and the 12 Pro are from the line.
I have the 10s Max, but
there you
you go.
Nice
Yeah.
phones. And the 11 Pro was the
like
11's
big.
battery life, and the 11 Pro. It's unfortunate they didn't have the LiDAR because the iPhone 11 series was fantastic. Still. So,
but right now, a lot of phones are hitting the market because a lot of people are gearing up to buy the new ones.
ditching them.
Yeah, if they're not on the trade-up plan or they don't want to trade it into Apple, they're for sale. So keep your eye out for that.
Great time to buy a secondhand phone.
I thought they did a good show. It was to me, it was entertaining. It moved right along. I was surprised a little bit by what did not show up and what did show up. So it was good. Another good Apple event. I wonder if the next one in the fall probably still will be virtual.
I actually prefer these virtual ones because I feel way more included. Like there was one scene where there was a little girl, there was two guys in a helicopter and they were taking a picture, and then they look up and there's this ginormous girl looking at them, and then it zooms out and she's taking a picture of them in like a display. And I just thought that was so cute. Like
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you love the description? It's so much more. I feel like I just get so much more out of it this way
I know.
than I did before.
I wasn't really interested in upgrading. I would have watched anyway, just out of professional interest, but the thing that really made me want to watch was the descriptions. They're kind of captivating.
They did a good job on them.
Yeah, I especially liked when they said, "Now we'll go to Jeff," and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna use that in the show somewhere."
Hey.
I thought that the name of the event and the way that it started with the way that they had the music and everyone in concert venues and California streaming, that there would be some big Apple Music announcement, and I'm really surprised that there really was. I don't know what it could have been, but they kind of made it seem as though there would be something about that with the way they started it.
I thought that was weird too, that there was no reference to streaming really. I mean,
well, they talked about the TV Plus stuff.
Sure, but to name the event that, I thought they would have more
like a music focus.
yeah, I don't know.
Another neat thing, I opened up the podcast app today. It says you can podcast listen to the event. Mm-hmm. That'd be cool if you could listen
they
to
probably
an
have
audio
the audio
description.
description.
Yeah.
I need them to just fix the freaking typing bug so I can upgrade to 15, because I refuse to while it's still doing that. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, there's a couple glitches, but like when I go into general and then down to storage and tap on it, no matter how long I wait, it'll tell me,
Does it just sit there?
30% are apps. No, it still tells me there's 0 KBs are being used. Not
Obviously,
GBs.
that's incorrect.
We're talking K.
Your storage is invisible, Jeff.
Is being used, yeah. But it says 30% are apps, 15% music, 5% blah, 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 something like that.
But no storage being used. That's funny.
Yeah, that's like there's no operating system either. Things that make you go,
Yeah, what happened to that 16 gigs of installed?
I was
the most
looking up
irritating
stuff.
thing to me about iOS 15 is if you are using a Bluetooth earpiece or you are using hearing aids, because I've done it with both, sometimes when you finish a call, the speech dies.
Yeah.
VoiceOver is still on because you can hear the little blip, 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 when you're navigating through, but your speech is gone. And sometimes it's as simple as doing a 2-finger triple tap to bring back speech, and sometimes you have to turn Bluetooth off and turn it back on. And at least I found those workarounds, but before that it was a huge bunch of aggravation. But that's my big showstopper. There's a lot to like, but...
Wait, you said a 2-finger triple tap. You meant a 3-finger double tap.
That's exactly what I meant. I was just checking to see if you were paying
I was
attention.
processing that too. I was like, I don't...
Yeah, I said it and I'm saying, wait a minute.
So are you downgrading?
right,
Is that what you
it?
said?
No,
Okay.
I'm not going to downgrade, but that is just like it's my way of saying, if you constantly use a Bluetooth earpiece or you use a hearing aid or whatever, be aware of this before you update.
Yeah, I think this is, other than a couple glitches, I think they did a really good job with this beta system this time. It didn't stop me at all, so I think there's going to be a few good things. But like a lot of people, they usually wait for the next update after the first release. And I think Serina's going to be waiting.
Yeah, I put it on my iPhone 10. And I had a very specific thing that was the showstopper for me. And I use direct touch typing. And when typing, it kind of, even with auto text, speak auto text turned on, it sporadically will speak what words it wants to and what ones it doesn't when you hit the space bar.
Describe direct touch typing.
So direct touch typing is best used by making sure you have speak auto text turned on. And I have it where it reads me both characters and words, but you can do it without it reading you the characters and the words if you want to. But I did it that way so I could had to come off my flick type and flexi. So to get reoriented to where the keys actually are. So what it is you just type like normal, and by normal, I mean like as though you're just...
Landscape?
You could do it in portrait or landscape. I don't ever type in landscape on my phone.
Are you a thumb typer?
Yeah, I type with my two thumbs.
Okay.
So you just type, and as you're typing, it'll try to predict the word that you want. And if you hear it, you just hit spacebar. And if I type like OT, it usually will autocorrect to OF for of. And in iOS 15, it is autocorrecting when you hit space, but when you hit space, it says nothing. So you have no clue what it autocorrected to or, if it autocorrected to it instead of, and I can confirm on 14 it does work correctly. So and I've tried on two different devices with 15, so it's very specific to 15.
Now tell me this, did you actually just like say, I'm going to learn this, I'm going to do this and do it for like 2 weeks straight to get good at it? Or did you get frustrated?
It takes a good month. It takes a good month for that one. Yep.
Well, there goes that idea.
Yeah, but it's worth it. You get really fast
keyboard.
on it.
It's a good I can't do it with my right. You're smart. You can use both thumbs. I can only type one-handed. I can't type with my right hand at all. It's just worthless unless I'm using Braille. I can't or regular QWERTY like using keys. But just to type with my fingers on a touch screen like that, I have to use my left hand. But that touch typing takes some getting used to, especially if you're used to the direct typing. If you're used to just lifting your finger and having the key repeat, because you really have to hit it pretty right on the letter, right? I mean,
you just have to get close. But the autocorrect works so well.
I know, it's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I never was a thumb typer.
I wasn't either.
I don't know how else to type. I've always typed with my thumbs. I'm very confused by you guys.
I always use my index fingers. It's funny because this always fascinates me, and I've done kind of these informal surveys, and it seems like people who are born blind, so learn to read Braille at an early age, in general type with their index fingers. And sighted people and people who lost their sight later type with their thumbs. And recently, I was talking to a sighted person, and they mentioned, I didn't even ask, but they mentioned typing with their index fingers. And I said, oh my gosh, how did you start doing that? And they said, well, they're narrower. It just makes so much more sense.
How do you hold your phone when you... So I'm just fascinated by this because I have vision problems my whole life. My first smartphone was a Windows mobile phone with like a physical QWERTY keyboard, which would have been really hard to type with your pointer fingers on.
No, that's
everyone had those.
HTC and the slide out keyboards. I always use my index fingers. Always.
6700, baby.
Yes, I remember that.
Mine had two keyboards. How do you hold the phone though? Like, I'm so distracted. I know this is way off topic, but I'm like...
Hold the phone between your thumb, especially like the iPhone 12.
You basically palm it in one hand and type with your index.
No, I can hold it and type in the same hand. I can hold it with my thumb on the right side under the power button, kind of, and my pinky on the left side under where the volume buttons go on the edges because they're flat, and then my index finger and my middle finger, my ring finger, will type on the screen while I'm holding it.
That is very interesting.
Sounds like spider aerobics.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone not typing with their thumbs. Wow. Like sighted people with thumbs.
If it's Braille, I have to use two hands. So take that back. If it's Braille, I have to just hold it. But if I'm walking around and doing something or carrying something in my other hand or drinking coffee or whatever, I want to be able to text with my other hand. So I just hold the phone on the sides and use my fingers to type.
Did you ever hear you can't text and drive. You can't text and walk. Okay.
That's why they don't give me a driver's license.
Well, no, but
Jesse, I'm curious. Is it thumbs or pointer fingers?
Usually, I just hold my phone in one hand, and then I use my index finger on the other hand to type.
hold it with the right hand and type with the left.
I actually did an experiment for 2 weeks where I decided I was going to type only with my thumbs because I wanted to see if it would improve my speed or my accuracy.
Did you get good at it?
No.
I could never get good at it.
After
Did you
about
get
10
good at
days,
it?
I stopped because it was driving me crazy. I wasn't good at it. And for some reason, the angle that I had to hold the phone in order to type with my wrist or with my thumbs hurt my wrists. I have mild carpal tunnel and it aggravated them. And I'm like, nope, I'm going back to my way.
Because you have to face it toward you. They have it toward them to see the screen, but the way you have to hold it toward you is awkward enough that you almost want to drop it after a while. It's not comfortable.
Exactly.
I know. I've tried to type that way too, and I can't either. But I think you're right. I think it has to do with people that had some vision, that because they did it with the touch tone pad too. When folks could see, they would do T9 on the touch tone pad with their thumbs.
I did thumbs on T9.
And to me, like,
everybody did. All my sighted friends did.
the thumb is for grasping. The thumb isn't for feeling / differentiating
right,
/
you can't
orienting.
feel the F and the J keys,
And I'm sure it would probably do good things for my brain if I could make myself type with my thumbs, but I wasn't good at it.
No, I can't do it either.
And that might be why direct touch typing works so well for me, because my thumbs are very quick on it.
Because you're used to typing. Got muscle
Well,
memory.
And the interesting, like, for me, I turn, because it used to drive me crazy, I turn all of the autocorrect off. I manually,
What?
I use
never.
the touch.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, I use the regular touch typing, not direct touch typing.
I couldn't. Oh my gosh.
I do too. Touch typing. And then turn the key echo off so it just echoes at once. It doesn't say J, J, E, E.
Yeah, but because I have to type the exact letter, because it always screwed it up. So I'm like, well, if you're just going to get the wrong word anyway, I'll type it myself. So I have all that autocorrect stuff turned off.
I could never. Because direct touch typing, you could start typing obvious, and you could be OBVI, and it'll autocorrect it to obvious, and you just hit space. You only have to type a handful of letters, and it'll just do it.
So let me say this. When you shut off the echo, if you go into settings under keyboards, you can have it for touch typing, and then you can have it repeat the keys
For words.
or the words. And
No,
then
I do it to words.
Or
echo.
both.
But if I was going to spell Jeff, which is Jeff, so I J, and then when I release it, what kind of typing is that?
J.
That's
That's touch typing.
Touch typing.
Touch typing.
That's what I use.
And then
So by
standard
sh-
typing is the split tap or double tap method.
yeah.
But if you turn that off, it doesn't say J twice. It'll just say J when you lift your finger.
Turn off echo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I already know I hit J because it said J when I touched it. So I don't need it to repeat J.
And then-
again.
And direct touch typing never echoes it. In
Right.
the first
I like
place.
the repetition because sometimes I'll think I'm on the J and like I've rotated or
You'll miss
twisted
it.
my finger just enough that
Yeah, mine
so
will do
it
that
doesn't
sometimes.
like it's
You
no
lift
skin
it
off my
and it
nose to
says
hear
the
it
wrong
twice.
letter.
I don't
Yeah.
mind, especially when
Yeah.
I'm out somewhere and it's loud. It's kind of like confirmation. It's really funny.
Isn't it funny how everybody does it
is.
different? It's
It
kind of
is.
cool how everybody has their own system, and if you tried to replicate it, would just be awful to use someone else's because they're so different. But
Yeah.
it's cool.
And it's not just like, this is my arbitrary system. It's like, this is my system and this is why it works for me. And I think that's so cool. I mean, it drives me a little
Yeah,
crazy when people
I do
think we all
too.
have to be cookie cutter people because we just don't. Because we're not. We can't really be.
Yeah, and we got into different habits.
It's what works for you, works for you. So I want to tap back in here to Serina. You said that when you release and it says the word, when it suggests a word,
Yeah.
it says it aloud to you.
So if I start typing a couple of words, and it does that on all of them, honestly, the auto text
It keeps repeating new words as you keep typing.
as you go. Or it'll keep repeating the same word if you get.
I think that's why another reason I turned that off, because I got so tired of it blabbing every word every time I hit a letter.
Well, I'm going to try that, Serina, because that makes sense to me.
Well, sometimes I'll want to say like definitely. Like if I want to say definitely, it'll be like definite, and I'll just keep typing until it says definitely. And then you just hit space as soon as it says the word that you want, and it saves a ton of time.
I think if you're typing like with a regular keyboard, or if you're typing in Braille where you're flying so fast that you're out typing all that stuff, it's annoying because it slows you down. But if you're typing on screen where you're moving slow enough where you can actually hear,
Yep.
sometimes that autocorrect can be really helpful. It can be annoying too if you're trying to
It helps
type
a ton.
something that is proprietary that it doesn't know, but it can be super helpful. Or if you're trying to figure out, like, if I don't know how to spell a word, like trying to type it. That's not right.
I have to admit, dictation seems to be working better for me, and I don't know why. It just seems to.
Because it's on board now.
On your device.
It's not having to go to the cloud all the time.
It's a lot faster, too.
Yeah, on iOS 15 it is.
Thank God, it's about time.
But Jeff, I am curious. Thumbs or index fingers?
My right index finger.
I just cannot imagine. You guys are going to have to show me this one day. I can't even imagine
Hold the phone with your other hand and then type.
I got a keyboard sitting over here that I'll turn on and I'll type if I'm going to be typing, or I use dictation.
But what about when you're out in public and stuff? But that's why I don't like dictation as much, because I just don't want everyone knowing my business.
Right.
That's why, yeah.
Well, I think if you're using your thumbs, and you can use both thumbs and stuff, you can be out in public and type and just bang, something goes out because you're fast and you're confident. Where me, I'm a hunt peck type of person. While I'm laying in bed, if I have to send a message back and I have to think I got to type it, I won't do it.
Oh,
So
I just won't do it.
That's why this bug is only bothering me, because I'm the only one that uses my phone this way.
Well, and they have those prediction boxes too. I don't know if you know. Sometimes those are helpful.
I don't use the prediction boxes except for emoji.
That's why we should talk a little bit about transitioning into one of the new features of the Apple Watch, because when I'm out and about, I like to use this little flick type keyboard because it does the prediction and... Like,
you can't say that. They're suing right now.
Yeah,
I know. That's the thing.
You're going to have to beep that out, Jeff.
There's no reason that we can't talk about that.
We can.
So, I was kidding, first of all, but it's built into the OS.
But no, I mean, like, for the phone, like, because it still works. Like, if I want to type something long and I do just want to, like, I'm out somewhere where I can't hear it as well, I will do the predictive stuff with flick type because it works really well for me.
Mm-hmm.
And now you'll have a choice because it's built right into they put that new slide. What is that new keyboard put into the watch?
It's called Quick Path, but everyone keeps saying that it's like...
Is it like slide to type or whatever?
That's exactly what it is. All they did was move slide to type. They've had slide to type, I believe, since iOS 12 or 13, if I recall. Like, it's not new. It's just that the watch is now big enough to support that. So I don't know how Flick Type's gonna weather this storm, because if they really thought that this was a patent infringement of some sort, then why didn't they bring that up years ago when they did slide to type, which is not the same as Flick Type in the slightest.
You know what's funny? As much as I detest dictation, because people will not take the time to not be lazy and go back and correct what they write. And I really do detest it. It's a big pet peeve of mine that nobody bothers to proofread the things that they send out. They just
or add
spit
punctuation.
it out. It's just
Yes.
But
I hate it.
on the watch, I use dictation, and I've never played around with. That's how little I use my watch. I'm really bad.
I don't know that you can go back and correct it on the watch. You have to completely redo it.
And I have it read it back to me, and if I don't like it, I delete it, but I use it so seldom. Usually when I'm walking and I want to like tell Robin, hey, open the gate, I'm coming in with my hands full or whatever, I'll say, text Robin, come open the gate or something, please.
Something quick.
And it's quick like that. It's funny because as much as I don't like dictation, most of my friends use it and use it really successfully, very well. And yet on the watch, where all of you just are like rock stars with the keyboards, I'm like, I don't know anything about. I really need to play with more, because I think I would really enjoy that experience actually of doing more with the watch. I just get lazy and dictate.
Oh, I don't use the keyboard on the watch either. Even when Flick Type had it, I just thought it would be too tedious. I'm like...
I have tried the handwriting on the watch that works okay.
Does it?
I forgot about the handwriting feature, yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, man, you're talking about a little 1-inch square to type and to do all that stuff? I mean, jeez, I don't know.
I don't know how people are doing. I don't know.
I don't know.
If the message was that important for me to respond to where I felt that I needed to type it out, I'd just get my phone out.
You know what I found out with the watch, though? Instead of holding it up like you got to talk to your watch, you can hang it down by your wrist and just do whatever you're doing. They can hear you fine. That microphone is really good.
I never would have guessed that.
It has such a good mic, and I'm telling you what, for those of you out there listening, if you love your digital recorders, do not ever undersell the Apple Watch is the best digital recorder
yeah.
I've played with. It's got
Just
such a
press
great
record.
mic in it. If you
I'm
need to
genuinely
capture
surprised
something
at how
quick,
good that mic
it's
is.
amazing how tiny it is and
Yeah.
yet how stellar the mic is. I mean, it's mono. You're not going to get, it's not stereo, mind you, yet, but it's a really amazing mic and it does a good job.
I was genuinely
there's several
impressed.
apps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got a phone
it's
call. I
good.
had to answer it because I went to made it to my phone. So I answered it. And then I just started doing things. And there was never an interruption of someone saying, "Are you busy?"
I don't
Yeah.
hear
No,
you.
it was fine. And, I think it's a great thing. And I just can't
Yeah,
hold it up. And I used to
exactly.
do that. And that's why I didn't like it. But now I realize
My arm
that
gets
microphone,
tired.
that thing could probably pick up 10 feet away.
I do think it's harder to hear them on it.
It's a whole 40 millimeters. I can't hold that
It
up.
is. It's like bad speakerphone.
Like when I've taken calls on it, I feel like it's harder to hear the other person on the watch.
Well, I just hate it because you say hello
Yeah.
and then voiceover is still talking. It's like, okay, just
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
annoying.
But if I'm expecting a call and I've temporarily stepped away from my phone, it's a really nice solution. I don't really use the keyboard on the watch. I did play with it when FlickType had the beta, but I mostly use my phone because I find for texting, whether I'm dictating or whatever, that the experience is better. And sometimes if I dictate on the watch, it will send it without my approval. And
That
it's
does
like,
happen sometimes.
oh, no.
I've had that
Oh,
happen.
I
that's
did
bad.
not
too.
say that.
Oh, that's really
Yeah.
bad. Oh.
It's very quick on there.
Yeah. I dictate quite a lot on the phone, and I think there are some things you can do to make it easier and to improve the quality. But even so, the other day I sent a really long message to my friend, and it was like dictation just threw up because it was like 3 minutes of actual words
Just ate
that
the-
were utter nonsense.
That's
It was like,
funny.
it was so not even close to what I was saying
just send it.
That's so funny.
that it had to be a glitch.
And this was on 15.
Yeah,
It's funny when it does that too. It's gotten so much better.
it really has.
In my opinion, I think dictation has improved by leaps and bounds, really, from where it used to be. But then I have a boring white sounding American accent, Midwestern, just really neutral.
That's why you're on the show. That's a prerequisite.
I think if I had a Scottish brogue or something, it wouldn't know what to do.
But what I do find is it definitely has gotten better, but I think I generally still don't like to, if I have a headset hooked up or, Bluetooth headset, the dictation just is nowhere near as accurate.
Yeah.
I have way more problems
No.
then. I just don't even
No.
bother most of the time.
Yeah, I do too.
Here's a question for y'all. Does anybody use Raise to Speak?
No.
I turned that off.
1,000 times, no.
God, no.
Oh God, that was horrible. I turned that off. Ooh.
No.
I remember when I got my Apple Watch and I didn't know about Raise to Wake?
Race to wake, and then it's just constantly on.
And it clicks and clicks, and my boss is blind. And I just started working with him, and it was the very first time I'd gone into his office and he's doing the little, asking me questions or whatever. How they ask you things about your department.
You're checking your time.
And every
all the
time I would move, my sleeve would go click, 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 click. I just got this watch and I wanted so badly to tell him, you know what, I'm so sorry, I'm not checking the time. Because it just seemed like the rudest thing. But of course, if I said that, then I was going to call more attention to it and make him think that I was, it was just really awkward.
Remember when Waterlock came out on the watch?
I turned that off.
I think we were also Waterlock.
I do.
I think we were also disappointed
The what?
because
Waterlock.
Oh,
I don't know about you, but I expected that when you turned off Waterlock, your watch would go pew and it would spew the water. It would be like
That
a
it would
squirt
do
gun
all
and you could
kinds of-
soak your nemesis, And it was just like, there's this little spot the size of it, not even a dime on my wrist. That's all you got? It was just kind of funny.
I remember when Walkie Talkie came out, and we all thought that was going to be so cool. And I don't know anyone who
That's a
uses that
pain in the
feature
butt.
now.
No.
I know a couple of people that use it, but it's usually workmates that are, carpooling or something, So it's those little moments when, you're both getting ready and about ready to leave and stuff or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find each other 90 feet apart in the same train station.
But I'm going to try Raise to Speak when I want to get Siri's attention because of this. I have my minis are sitting on my monitor
HomePod
speakers.
minis?
Yeah, they're sitting here. Then there's my phone. And then when I say, hey, S lady or hey, S person, it's interesting. It's kind of a race to see who's going to grab it.
It always does do the correct device, though. I don't know if if you're holding your phone and you do it, it will do it on your phone. If you're not, the phone will beep, but it'll still process it on the HomePod minis. Because I've had it multiple times where it's done that.
Interesting.
It figures it out.
There is a moment, though, right before it happens that you're guessing. I'm sitting there going from there to there to there.
It's never guessed wrong, though. Not once. But I have a bone to pick with you, Jeff.
Uh-oh.
In the last episode, when you were doing the demo...
Thanks for listening. Join us next
Seeing
week.
AI and talking about how you could use the S lady to do this and that, you left one HS in there, and my HomePod went crazy. I don't understand what you're trying to say. And I was just like, cancel. I don't know what you mean. I'm like, oh, because it kept picking up the words from the podcast still.
Oh, I left it in there, huh?
It wasn't you. It was voiceover saying it. And since the HomePods are less sensitive to voices, it'll trigger it. Like if it was like just my phone or my iPad nearby, it wouldn't have done anything because it's listening for my own voice. But the HomePods are listening for any voice, so it did it.
Oh wow, that's kind of funny.
Oh, that's
The
funny.
Amazon ones do that too. I was somewhere and I was listening to something and the news was on and I don't know what she thought she heard, but she said, now playing. Started playing some sleazy song from some album in 1998 that I'd never heard before. I'm like, wait, I didn't tell you to play that. I don't know what she heard on the radio.
You know what happens, and I don't know if they still do it now, but for the longest time, and I think it was like ABC would do this too, it'd be like, it would literally say the wake word, it'd be like, HS, remind me on blah 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 to watch this show. And like it would, because one day I was like, Charles, why do I have a reminder that says watch the challenge? And he was like, because when I was watching TV downstairs, that's when we still had the HomePod down there. It did that. And I was like, that's annoying and rude.
They must have done something now because sometimes they'll say the word and I'll hear it brink in the kitchen. Oh, they triggered it. But then whatever they said afterward, they've got some, I don't know if they have background noise behind it or how they've got it to where they can say the word and trigger it, but it doesn't do the action. It's like whatever else they say on the commercial, they've got something behind it that's causing the audio not to.
I've heard that, like a radio station in my area says, do you have an ALEXA? Except they don't spell it.
Right.
But it doesn't.
But it doesn't trigger it
it
anymore. It's like they put something behind it that I don't know how they're making it not catch it.
Oh, ours definitely still triggers. Specifically the HS one.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Speaking of Siri, one thing I did learn about iOS 15 is Siri is more, and it's kind of about time, but Siri is more context sensitive.
I've heard that.
So if you say, HS, who wrote Harry Potter? And you get the response, J.K. Rowling, then you can say, how old is she? You don't have to say, yes, how old is J.K. Rowling?
You can also, if you, follow-up mode, I think is what it is.
Follow-up
context,
mode.
I thought it was context something, I don't know. If you can't speak, you can do different,
noises.
Verses. And you can trigger it to do different things.
Oh, cool. It speaks.
I know there's a lot of chit chat going on about this stuff.
Did you say what I think you just said?
What's that?
You did not enunciate that well.
Chit chat?
That is not what you said the first time.
I didn't say that.
Did anyone else hear that?
I think it was just you this time.
I think you said chit chat.
Yeah. Well, a lot of chit chat about the event and everything. California streaming. A lot of other stuff that came out. So it's going to be interesting when now the people get this stuff in their hands and start using it or get to feel it, get to check it out. And if you ever get to an Apple store, it used to be nice when you could go check this stuff out. But I think after our conversation, I probably won't be updating because it doesn't make sense in a way.
I don't believe you.
And after the money Raqi spent, she's probably ready to write a memoir called California Screamin'.
No, it's all right because
It's all right.
next year I'm doing myself a favor for because next year I would have upgraded for sure, and it would have made me disgusted to have a phone that would have been less than 2 years old and not be able to get more than $300 for it. That would have made me really sad.
There you go.
So
All right. Well,
it's all good.
it's all good. It's all right.
It's all right.
And I want to thank all of you for listening. This is Tech Abilities. You can find us on the Blind Abilities podcast and Blind Abilities on Twitter. I'm doing the Blind Abilities ending, ain't I? I gotta get a steady job.
What's the phone number?
But if you want to give us some feedback, let us know how we're doing. If you got some suggestions, give us a call at 612-367-6093. And for Serina, that's 612-367-6093.
Thank you for doing a normal human pace. Especially for those that listen to this on like double speed. My goodness, you probably sound like the Micro Machines guy.
And that's that commercial, right?
Yeah, where the Micro Machines, you don't remember the toys?
Oh, yeah.
The little...
Those are classic, man.
Yeah.
And how's that commercial go?
Well, I don't know, but he just spoke really fast.
She doesn't want to do it.
I don't even know what he said, honestly. I just know
I could
he
understand
spoke
it. I
very
just couldn't believe he
quickly.
could talk that quickly.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think he was talking too fast.
Is it kind of like when all of a sudden the guy says, but if you take this drug, please watch out for blah, 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 blah.
Oh, it's faster than that.
Yeah,
No,
right.
it's way, way faster than that.
Yeah, just look up Micro Machines commercial. You'll know.
Really?
Yeah.
They are fast, too, and it's so rhythmic, too. That's
Yeah.
like...
When I was about 8, I wanted to go to auctioneer school. Could have talked like that. Could have been fun. It's very sing-songy.
It really
kinda.
is like music. I mean,
And I
it's
actually
fascinating.
remember saying, weirdly, I didn't say I want to learn to talk like an auctioneer. I said I want to learn to sing like an auctioneer.
No, they're fun. They're fun.
Yeah.
It is. It's
They're
really
fun.
neat.
I love auctions too.
I still love to listen to them. We'll be nice and say unique. How's that?
Well, we don't have an auction going on, but we do have the sale going out in September here at the Adaptation Store. Cane tips, canes, mobility, stuff like that. We got a deal going on, right?
Oh, yeah. Actually, we launched a brand new program
Uh-oh.
that we just launched last week, and so we're getting together some new hardware. So for all of you that work with young children, this is a program called Little Learners.
Oh.
Actually, Lighthouse Little Learners. Yeah, we're so excited. And primarily the concentration is focusing on kids age 0 to 3 and their families, and trying to just get resources out there. So we're looking at all kinds of different things that we're adding to the website, everything from little kitty canes to sensory toys and things for little kids, and then also putting in place, networks to work with the parents and get them on the right path when their kids are tiny and they still have all kinds of unanswered questions. So it's a brand new fledgling program, literally just launched a week ago today. So pay specific attention to lighthouse-sf.org and have a look at upcoming events if you're interested in our Little Learners.
Breaking news.
And watch the store for some new toys and fun games and things for little kids coming up in the upcoming months.
That's breaking news right here on Tech Abilities.
That's right.
There we go.
That's right.
Serina,
Jeffrey,
how's your week look?
I don't know. I can't see it.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
There you go.
You set it up.
Jesse, yourself?
Yeah, just keeping busy at work, still doing a lot of stuff for work, and, everything going on the YouTube channel and stuff. That's going on its regular schedule, youtube.com/illegally cited. Of course, right in about early to mid-September is when the big fall rush of games are coming out. So there's, just all kinds of different indie and AAA games that are coming out galore. So there's lots of stuff to look forward to and hurt my wallet even more. So, yeah.
Lisa.
Well, I am really, really looking forward to regaining the ability to speak for more than 3 consecutive sentences without having to mute and cough until I turn a very Smurfy shade of blue.
Or is that Sierra Blue?
Yeah, we had a whole discussion yesterday. None of us knew
Starlight.
Yeah, we didn't know what color Starlight was.
I'm still not sure.
My
Still don't
Amazon
know.
thing said
It's a white.
Oh.
Starlight, right?
My Amazon thing said it was purple.
Some people say it's white, but then they say it's like a champagne-ish, not quite a white, so I don't know what color.
Which one is black? That's what I need to know. That's the one I need to
or
get.
Space gray.
Okay.
There's a space gray.
Oh, so there's no space
one calls
gray
it
anymore?
midnight
okay.
and one calls it space gray.
But my state's convention starts
It's
tomorrow.
probably the 13. The regular
and,
13 is the midnight, I
I'm
bet.
giving a presentation tomorrow night, and then co-presentation, and then following up on that, I get to make a fool out of myself because I've volunteered to be a contestant on our Jeopardy. As long as I don't get the sports category, there's a snowball's chance.
Oh.
It was on it.
Oh, you're gonna
My
do
parents
so
were
You're
over
gonna
last
have
night,
fun.
and I put it
That'll
on
be
for
fun.
them. And I went to Bible college, so they had the Old Testament as a category. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, aced it. Of course, if you were on in real life, you would never get the category that you knew, But
Quick little tip. If you're looking for an accessible online Jeopardy game, there's a thing called Jeopardy
Yes,
Labs.
yes.
It's really cool, actually.
1,000 times yes. Where do you find it?
I don't know. I just did a Google search for Jeopardy Labs.
Oh, cool. But what is it? Is it iOS? Is it
It's web
Steam?
browser
Is
based,
it-
so you can play it.
Oh,
I've
cool.
tried it on iOS. I've tried it on the computer with NVDA, and it's really cool because all of the categories is just a big table. So if you want like whatever category 300, you just do your table navigation, find the category, and then go down to the thing and hit enter, and boom, you got it.
That was kind of on my bucket list for the longest time.
It's pretty rad.
I really wanted to be on Jeopardy, but I used to even sit there with my abacus and play along with the TV. And the problem is I have too many large gaps in my knowledge. And so some nights I was like the reigning champion, and then other nights it's like, oh my goodness, I'd have gotten
Yeah.
laughed off the stage.
Oh, I enjoy Jeopardy. I'm just terrible at it. But you can make your own Jeopardy games too. So you can make your own categories, and
I love Jeopardy.
we're actually thinking about doing that for our transition students at work, trying to make themed categories around like transition and ATB and adjustment to blindness and all those types of things. So
My favorite Jeopardy was on Saturday Night Live.
Sean Connery. Yes.
Suck it, Trebek.
So good.
Your mom last night.
Oh,
His answers
some
were
of the
just
stuff
way
was
out there.
great because you would mix up the way that the categories were called.
Yeah, what was his name? Daryl Hamilton? What? Who just died?
Oh, no. You're Norm Macdonald. Oh,
Norm.
man, yes.
Norm
Norm
Macdonald.
Macdonald. Yeah.
That's
I
so
know.
sad. Yeah.
He did the news.
God, talk
I
about a
know, he's so
legend.
good.
I thought he was great at the news. That was fun. That
Yeah,
dry.
I love the dry sense of humor. Like there was a movie called Dirty Work that's really kind of weird but funny. He's in that.
Yeah. Serena, just nothing, huh? Just absolutely not even put another brick in the wall or something like that. Anything? Too soon still?
Still too soon. It's real fresh today. I will say I continue to do work with the audio description project, and another highly anticipated title was just added to HBO Max's library with description, and that would be The Sopranos.
Oh.
So right now,
Oh, you just killed my weekend for me.
seasons 1 through 4 have description. So they're probably going to do the same thing they did with Game of Thrones and just add a couple every once in a while.
You just trashed my weekend.
Sorry, did I wake up your dog over here? I'm sorry.
Oh, do you hear him jingling?
I did. I was like, I should shut up squeaking. Maybe I hurt the dog's ears. And then I realized he probably didn't hear me all the way from Colorado. The Sopranos. Thank you. You just made my home.
Raqi needs to order herself a fainting couch on Amazon. You're swooning.
Oh my God.
So, Serena, where can people go to get that audio description list?
So you can go to our Facebook page, which is the Audio Description Project. I think it's by the American Council. Just type in the Audio Description Project. It's very long. But you can also go to adp.acb.org.
There you go.
And everything's there. There's so much new stuff that gets added. There's some cool titles that have gotten added lately.
What you said about Game of Thrones and you talked about, before that was because I saw the audio description for all of this previous seasons and you said, that was a
Bootleg.
That was a knockoff, or that was not legitimate. And I thought, what? It was professionally done by somebody in the UK. Come to find out, those are all not legitimate description. I mean, I didn't
it's like
know.
getting a Grateful Dead bootleg
that
album.
it was done.
There's more of those out there than their albums.
I mean, it was great for me to have it, but they did it kind of janky, and I guess this is really different.
I'm not a fan of the way the
Yes.
UK describes it, because they do things, and I feel like we said this a little bit in a, like, you hear the cell phone ring, and then they say his phone rings, and it's like, I don't need you to tell me that. Like, I'm smart enough to realize that, you know.
And they duck weird. Do you notice they duck really weird? Bam, it goes down, and then bam, it comes back up.
You could tell
like,
it's
God,
post-production.
Can you just ride that rheostat? And can you there's no feeding.
Even. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of HBO, do you know if Breaking Bad has been described yet?
Breaking Bad's been described forever
Breaking
on
Bad's
Netflix.
been described.
I didn't.
it.
Okay, I didn't think it
and
was.
Breaking Bad's not an HBO show. It's
Oh yeah, no, that's not. It's no, you're right.
AMC, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
But it got
late. What do you
described
want
on
from me?
Netflix about a year, maybe 2
did,
years ago.
Okay,
And
because
it's
I own it
described
all on
very
Amazon
well.
Video.
It's not
They did a
described
good
there.
job.
It's only on Netflix.
I think one of the best audio descriptions that I saw
did a
was
good
for the
job.
first time that I noticed that was really good was Forrest Gump. That was a great job for the year that it came out and the year they did the audio description for it. But if anyone gets the audio description for the Apple event that just happened, they do a spectacular job.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I mean, it's almost like they wrote it and they filmed it to fit it, because it's just like a glove, you know.
Kinda.
It's just like goes right, especially when.
Oh, they had to compress to get it in there in a few places.
But it's a good job. I mean,
But
they
it was
did
like-
it. They tailored
their
it
sound,
It was
you know, listening
impeccable.
to
It
online
was.
theater sound
Yeah,
and stuff
it
like
was
that. I just
amazing.
crank it. Oh, I left the bass up again.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Do you listen, Jeff, to things with spatial audio on your theater sound? Do you like spatial audio, or do you turn it off?
I don't turn it off, and I have it turned on everything.
Is it annoying to you, or do you like it?
Well, I get the spatial audio if I got my AirPod Pros in,
Right.
or if it'd be, I don't know if it's on the minis.
Do you use it?
I don't turn it off.
Oh, I thought it was.
I haven't turned it off. I got it turned on.
In 15, it's going to spatialize everything.
It's so hard to go back to listening to regular music, even lossless, and I love the lossless, don't get me wrong, but it makes...
Does your lossless like skip a little before the track plays every time?
Right
Like
at the
a little
beginning.
hesi- yeah.
Yeah, right at the beginning.
Every single
Right at the
time. It's
beginning.
extremely distracting.
It's better now. It's better. I
annoying.
haven't
It
noticed
doesn't
that for a
give you
while.
a cleaner fade.
I've been running the beta
I
for
was
so
just
long.
listening to it like a week ago, and it was still doing it.
We were watching Hamilton, and you really notice it
'Cause
in the
they
musical,
continue.
it starts to play.
Yep.
And it should normally just go smooth, and it doesn't. It jumps. But when you listen with spatial audio, if you like it, if you find it really annoying, and I live with somebody who can't stand it, so I'm always interested to see.
Move. It's time to move.
It creeps me out, is really what it is.
I've gotten so spoiled with it that stereo sounds so boring to me now. Regular stereo is like not, it used to be almost a necessity, and now it's not quite as boring as mono. I mean, I don't want to sound like, but it's very noticeable when you get used to it. It's weird how you don't think about it being there until it's not there, and then you feel the absence of it. It's very odd.
And I do have to thank Jeff for helping me with my little experiment project this last weekend.
Did it work?
Oh, with the drums?
Yes. Yep. It worked okay. It's kind of a jerry-rigged project, but I got a couple tracks recorded. So
Did you use the voice record? What did you use?
I ended up using. I pulled out the DM4 recorder that I had through work, and I used the input on that. Although it was tricky because I had to listen to it still with the Y cable through the drum set, because if I did it through the if I did it through the recorder, it was delayed just enough where it was really tough.
DM4 has a teeny
Really
bit of
tough.
delay. God, I hated that. I had the nicest mics, DM4 and DM2, but it had that little bit of delay when you moved.
Then the other thing I had to do is I had to really, really lower the output of the drum level, because otherwise, especially for the kick drum, it would just distort really bad.
Yeah, I could imagine.
But I found a level where it kind of worked okay. So I've got a few, just kind of put a little 5-6 song playlist together and just jammed out a few. So that's done.
It
and we'd be done too. From all of us here at Blind Abilities and the Tech Abilities Show, to you, your family, and friends, stay well, stay informed, and stay strong. I want to thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, bye-bye.
And then cue our funky music, right?
And for more podcasts with the blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, and give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave us a message and let us know if we can put your voice on the next podcast. Drop us an email at info@blindabilities.com and download the free Blind Abilities app from the App Store and Google Play Store. That's 2 words, Blind Abilities. And from all of us here at Blind Abilities, through these challenging times, to you, your family, and friends, stay well, stay informed, and stay strong. I want to thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see through each other's eyes,
we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the realities
of blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.